Hello, welcome to Chapter 14 for Business Math. It's called Inventory. This is for Lesson 14.4, Cash Discounts, Ordinary Dating. All right, so make sure, definitely every single section, we should be reading the textbook, looking through the examples, paying attention to the formulas, and looking through the terminology. At this point, we're getting pretty far into the terminology that businesses use when they're doing inventory, and we need to make sure we understand exactly what it is they're talking about. And just jumping straight into this worksheet, you're probably going to be a little bit lost if you don't take a look at that section first. So just, I remind you of this on every video. Make sure you're reading through the sections. All right, so this top part is just the summary here. So you receive an invoice for each purchase you make from a supplier. The invoice itemizes the quantities and costs of the items purchased. To encourage you to make a prompt payment, the supplier may offer a discount if the bill is paid within a certain number of days of the date of the invoice. Many suppliers use ordinary dating. All right, so they go through and they give us these three formulas here. So cash discount equals net price times the cash discount rate. The cash price is the amount you actually pay the supplier. Cash price equals net price minus the cash discount. So whatever it is you bought minus whatever discount they're giving you based on what we just calculated here. Another method to determine the cash price is to use the complement of the cash discount rate. Remember, complement means that we do 100% minus the discount. It's supposed to be the discount. And that gives us our complement. Complement. And what that is that's the amount you pay instead of the amount discounted off or taken off. So this is just cash price equals net price times complement of cash discount rate. All right, so we get to look at this table down here. And this is a very common thing if you've looked at statements, especially for businesses. So this is not quite as common for the individual person or personal purchases, but it's very, very common on business invoices. So we always have an invoice date. So this is the date it was sent out, was April 12th. And then the terms tell us when it's due and when we can take a discount. So the first one is your discount, 2/10. This means 2% if paid in 10 days. That's what this means. So again, this is one of those things that I'm talking about. If you're not reading the chapter, you probably won't know what this terms part means at all, because it's just numbers right now. It doesn't really explain anything on this sheet on what this means. So 2% in 10 days, or net, meaning all of it in 30. So that means 30 days. All right. So same thing with all of the rest of these. 3% if paid in 10 days or net in 30 days, meaning all of it. Remember, that's what net means. 5% if paid in 15 days or net in 30. 7% if paid in 10 days, net in 30. So the net in 30, usually that's pretty common. You get 30 days to pay it, but this is just a discount if you pay it a little earlier than that, if you pay it quickly. So last day to take the discount, they give it to us on this one. So it's just 10 days after April 12th. So 10 days is April 22nd. So same thing on this one. If we had May 5th, 10 days after that would be May 15th, right? So we're just filling that in. I didn't write it in here, so you can write that one in there. So last day to pay the invoice, same thing. It's just 30 days after this invoice date. So it's because April, so, we want to make sure we understand our months too, because you might be a day off if you're not paying attention to the month that has 31 days versus 30 days versus 28 days. So pay attention to that because April only has 30 days, which is why it's also May 12th. 30 days later, there isn't that extra one to throw it off. May, though, has 31 days in it. So it's not going to be May 5th. Sorry, not May. June 5th, it's going to be June 4th. It's going to be the day before because there's 31 days in May. pay attention to that, or you'll be a day off, at least a day off on some of those. So they just want you to fill this in. When is the last day to pay it? So as long as the date paid is before the last date to take the discount, and you can take a look at this too and say, okay, April 18th, that's 6 days after the invoice date. So that's within the 10 days. That's before the 10 days. But we can also just look at this column as long as we've calculated it correctly on the days and say, okay, it's before the 22nd. I get to take my 2% off. So the net price was $840. And we're going to multiply this by 2%. And that will tell us what our cash discount is. So $840 times 2% gives us $16.80. Oops, I was putting percentage there. So $16.80, not percent. So we get to take off $16.80. So we're simply just going to subtract these so that we know how much we're paying. So we're going to pay $823.30. Done. All right, so we're going to do the same thing on these next columns here. You just get to fill it in. And I did say out loud these two dates, so hopefully you were paying attention there. All right, let's take a look at number. All right, so number 5, it's going to be very, very similar to what we just did. It's just not in a table. It's giving you a little bit more information here than just, date and terms and some net price. So the net price of goods from Tree Store to Smith Jones Landscaping was $13,255.62 for trees, shrubs, and flower plants. The invoice was paid in 7 days, and the terms were 2 in 10, so 2% in 10, or net in 30. So they paid within the 10 days. They paid in 7 days. So we get to take the discount. So we get to take 2%. We're going to multiply that by our invoice here, our invoice amount, and then subtract it. So that'll tell us. So the first answer is, what is the trade discount? That's, we're literally going to multiply here. 255.62 times 2%. And that'll give you this first part here. And then we're going to subtract that amount from this right here. So we're going to subtract that here to get our cash price. So same idea as the table, kind of going across here. It's just, set up slightly different format. All right, number 6, exactly the same. You have your terms up top here. You have your net price. And it says if they paid it 1 day after. So that definitely fits within the terms. This is 4% if paid in 5 days. That's a very short amount of time, but hey, they did it. They paid it 1 day later. So we're going to go through and calculate our 4% discount. All right, let me flip my page here real quick because I believe there's 2 pages for this one. There is. Okay. So number 7 and number 8 are very, very close, almost identical to the last 2. The only difference is they want you to pay attention to the dates here. So, and I didn't mean to cross that off. So April 24th to May 2nd. So they get 5% if paid in 10 days. So we just need to make sure it's 10 days from April 24th. So if we think about that, and make sure you're paying attention to which month it is. So April has 30 days. So there's 6 more days here. And then I would have had 4 more days because 6 plus 4 is the 10. So they could have paid it up to May 4th. And that would have been okay. They could have still taken the discount. So they definitely paid it before that. You can also just literally count it and say there's 6 days here, there's 2 days here. So this is 8 days. All right, 8 days is less than 10. I can take my discount. So a couple of different ways you can look at that. You can actually look at the date of when it needs to be paid by to get the discount, or literally count the number of days and just make sure it's before the 10. All right. So same thing on number 8. Pay attention here. How many days are between August 20th and September 12th? Or actually pay, calculate out what's the date that it has to be paid by to get this 5% discount. All right, so definitely pay attention on that one. All right, the next piece here, number 9, just has a couple of parts on it. So it says Bob's department store received this invoice from the shoe gallery. So here's the order number. Here's the quantity they ordered for each piece, for each shoe. And then here's the unit price for each one. And what they want you to do is literally just multiply these. How much does it cost? So that's part A. Fill in the amount column in the table. So we're just going to multiply. It's $58.98 for 15 of them. So we multiply, and we'll get 3 numbers, and then we're going to add them together for this total here. All right, and I'm going to let you guys do that part because there's no reason that I don't think there's any reason that we can't calculate that on our own. What is the last date that Bob's can take the cash discount? So remember, we want to look for the terms, and here they are on the invoice. So it's 1% if paid in 20 days. They have 20 full days to pay it. And we need to look at what is the invoice date. The invoice date is March 20th. So for March 20th, I have 20 days to pay it. So January, February, March, that's one of the 31s because it's every other month that's 31, except for July and August. They're back to back. And if you don't know, I don't know if you've ever seen this. You can actually use your knuckles like this, put them together. You can go January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. And that kind of ends, obviously, December. But what I was doing is in between my knuckles. So on the top of my knuckle is 31. And then when I go in between my knuckles, that's either 30 or for February, 28. So January's on top, February's in between, March, April, May, June. July is on top, and then so is August. So it's kind of one of those silly little tricks if you ever want to just do that without looking at a calendar real quick. So, but pay attention to the 31 versus 30 so that we know, because otherwise, like I said before, you'll be a day off, which means that, the answer is not correct. And believe me, businesses are picky about that day. If you paid a day late and go, well, I accidentally, forgot that there was 31 days, they're not going to care. They're not going to give you the discount. That's not how it works out in the real world. They'll definitely take that money. So what is the cash price of the invoice if paid by April 8th? So they want you to calculate the cash discount here based on this date. So make sure it's within the discount period and then calculate the 1% discount here. All right. I think I'm going to let you guys finish that. I hope that helped, and I will see you in section 5.